Hello and welcome everyone to Vator Securities Tech Day Summit. My name is David Myslinski and I will be your moderator. So for those of you not familiar with Vator Securities, we are a boutique investment bank out of Stockholm, Sweden. We work primarily with Nordic growth companies, both private and listed. Last year we helped close to 30 companies to raise funds from retail investors, family offices and institutional investors, both from Sweden and abroad. Perhaps the most rewarding and inspiring we do at Vator Securities is working with entrepreneurs. Today we will hear presentations from a few such companies. Further, basically all of today's presenting companies have a market-leading product, service or strategic position. It is easy to forget the amazing potential in all of these tech companies when you look at the current stock markets. I dare to say that the market volatility can indeed be used to buy shares in very interesting companies at attractive levels. So please join me in just a few minutes for our first presentation of the company Rebelle. So, hello and welcome back everyone. I am pleased to announce that Rebelle will be kicking off today's Tech Summit. And with us we have CEO and CFO Cecile and Alex, live from Hamburg. Please.
Hello everyone, thank you very much and welcome to the presentation of Rebelle. I would like to use the first moments to introduce you to our business model in a nutshell and also to us as management team. Talking about Rebelle, we are talking about a pure play second-hand e-commerce platform, Rebelle.com, currently available throughout the European Union in 5 different languages. And we always say we are a managed marketplace due to the fact that we take full control about every single transaction being made on our website, really also physically improving products' authenticity and quality. Talking about our products, we talk mainly about all fashion products, accessories, bags, leather goods, etc., from all well-known designer brands of the world. So the most common brands on our website you would find are Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Prada, Hermès, Gucci, etc. All second-hand, so 100% used goods, with currently around about 200,000 unique pieces listed on our platform, all following a truly circular business approach, and e-commerce being our one and only trading channel. This is us, the founder and management team, Alexander, Max and me. Max and me founded the company together back in 2013 with the main idea in really shaping and changing something in one of the dirtiest industries in the world. Me always with the focus in product and marketing, Max being the mastermind behind all our operational processes, and Max being and Alex being our CFO and finance guy and responsible for all KPIs. Yeah, talking about sustainability in fashion nowadays is much more fun, obviously, because the awareness has risen so much over the last years that it really became a consumer topic, and the overall industry is shifting in the direction of circularity and, of course, in the direction of more sustainability. The awareness is there that the fashion industry is the second dirtiest industry in the world, with something between 5 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. We kind of always had the simple approach already when we started to build up a platform which makes it easy for buyers and sellers coming together and thus prolong the life cycle of every single good. And we are very happy to see that, especially for a young generation today, sustainability is sometimes even the key factor when making their purchasing decision. Looking onto our market, as Rebelle is positioned in the high-end part of the fashion market, we always looked at the market for personal luxury goods. We are talking about a market worth $430 billion today, with Europe being the largest market even before Asia and the US. The biggest growth coming from the resale segment currently, with an estimated CAGR of over 30% over the next coming years. So it's like really a huge market with a big segment, which is like so fast developing right now, and it just started. And what we also see, and this makes it for us, of course, in several directions very interesting, is that luxury is really one of the key and major interesting sectors when it comes to e-commerce, because it's like so stable in value. It's also so stable in quality, so it actually can have several owners after another. It's quite limited in terms of distribution, so the brands, they protect their brands and products so much that you don't find them in many places. And you have like a similar high demand of all these valuable brands and products when it comes to internationalizing the business. Furthermore, we also see that there's more and more players out there, retailers and brands, who are now looking to tap into the resale segment by partnering with professional luxury resellers such as Rebelle. Talking about our business, of course, for a marketplace, you need buyers and sellers. So you are basically serving all the time 2 different target groups. One is the sell side. Here we serve commercial sellers as well as private individuals. We do this with 2 different selling services. Our major used service is called our concierge service, which makes it super easy and less time consuming than any other service to just ship all the products to us, while we take care of the whole selling service, including finding the right price with our quite big today pricing database. And for the buy side, of course, when you still spend a couple of hundreds or thousands of euros on used products, you want an authenticity guarantee and a quality guarantee. And this is something we do with our authenticity database, which we have built up over the last 9 years, which is super unique in the market and you wouldn't find elsewhere. Talking about Rebelle, how we are positioned, I said that we always have been positioned in the luxury to premium end of the market. This is the fact still today. We also believe that this positioning really needs to go very closely hand in hand with the best service offering for buyers and for sellers. This is also the main key reason why we established these value-added processes, which are like all very much automated, but still partly are happening in a physical process. And this differentiates us like really quite a lot from most of our other competitors out there, such as eBay and other big platforms who leave the transaction really to buyers and sellers themselves. Furthermore, Rebelle is really trading internationally. Almost 70% of our orders coming from cross-border orders, meaning that buyers and sellers are coming from different countries. And here we see that there are some like smaller players who also similarly do quite a nice job, but being way smaller than Rebelle, but with a nice local footprint. And these could, of course, for us be like on the way to an IPO act as potential M&A targets for us to just accelerate growth in some interesting markets. Talking about the business model and maybe also looking on it from like an investor's point of view, I think there's some highlights which we should not forget to mention. Like number 1 is definitely that it's a capital light business model, so we don't have any own working capital involved, so no money tied up in own inventory. This is due to the fact that the products still are in the possession of the seller until they are sold. This also leads to the fact that we have to deal with very few returns, the major pitfall of other conventional e-commerce companies. The fact that we are positioned in the luxury space leads to very high shopping baskets and high commission rates. On customer loyalty, I think like this is really worth looking at it twice because we see very strong loyalty rates on buyer and on seller side. And the model itself by nature creates quite high entry barriers due to the fact that you really need critical mass for a marketplace. And also what we call our tailor-made single SKU factory. So really tailor-made processes to be able at all to handle in a smooth way and cost-efficient way single piece products. Yeah, let me hand over to Alex, who guides you through some, I think, interesting KPIs of our business to understand this a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, hi, my name is Alex. I'm the CFO of Rebelle. I think one thing that really makes Rebelle stand out compared to other players, also in both in conventional e-commerce, but also very much in the second-hand space, is really the very high customer lifetime value that we're having. The customer lifetime value really is constituted out of 3 elements. First of all, on the left-hand side of the slide, you see that we're having a very high shopping basket. We're having an average shopping basket of around about 300 euros, which, considering the fact that we're talking about second-hand clothing, is really simply quite a lot. Many players in the mid-market space, they're talking about average shopping baskets of 30, 40, 50 euros. And of course, that helps us really, that the transaction is also interesting from an economical point of view. Second of all, Cecile already mentioned it briefly, we're having a pretty high repeat purchase rate. Typically, over the first 3 years of a customer relationship, we're talking about 3.5 orders per customer. That's different to most conventional e-commerce companies in the mid-market that really struggle to get their customers to place the second and third order. For us, the difference is that, of course, the discovery element of the marketplace with lots of brands that you can hardly find anywhere else, lots of new products arriving every day is a wonderful thing to talk about, to produce nice email marketing content and thereby to retain your customers. And the third one that makes our business model stand out is that we can charge a pretty healthy commission rate. We're talking about an average commission rate of around about 30%. Which is totally different to conventional naked digital marketplaces where you normally talk about 10% commission rate. Why can we charge 30%? Of course, because we're doing quite a lot for our commission. So we're producing the content, we're checking the authenticity, the quality, we're repackaging the items, and so on. So we're really creating a very much elevated buying and selling experience, just adding a lot of value, and therefore we can charge just quite a bit more for our service. This is a snapshot of the high-level P&L of Rebelle. On the left-hand side, you see the development of our transaction volume. We closed last year at just short of 26 million euros. So that's the total aggregated volume of the transactions that happen on the marketplace, net of returns and cancellations. It's hard to see now because it's so small, but there you see also on the left-hand side that we're talking about this 30% average commission rate. That gives rise to the commission that we also see. We had commission revenues of around about 7.5 million euros in 2021, and we had a negative EBIT of minus 2.2 million. Really driven by the fact that whenever we spend marketing, we're investing in the future because we're starting to make money with a second and a third transaction. And that's really also what we very much plan to do in the future, to really accelerate on the marketing side. Let me come to that in just a second. But before that, the chart on the right-hand side, just to say that from the sort of balance sheet point of view, it's a very lean business model. We're having almost no capex, so capex amounts to less than 1% of revenues, and the working capital is even negative. Last thing on the numbers, of course, we also have to mention something about COVID. It's been a roller coaster to some extent the last 2 years, as for everyone in business, that you had some impacts from COVID. Now that we are looking towards a very much easing pandemic situation in Germany, which is our core market, we're very much looking forward to that because, of course, the products that we're selling is all about also being able to show them, to wear them at functions, at weddings and events and so on. So we're thinking that will benefit quite a bit as the COVID situation eases. Talking about the future, we have a simple goal. We want to grow the business to 100 million sales by 2025. In order to do that, we will we will push marketing a lot, especially on the international side. Today we are a European business, but Germany is still our by far largest market. We already have customers in most other European markets, but there is really a big opportunity to push, and all we need to do that is in place. And in some markets, we also see the opportunity to shortcut our growth by conducting M&A with local companies. Then I can already hand back to Cecile with 1 minute left.
Thanks, Alex. It's up to me to close the presentation, and then we are, of course, here for questions. I really hope that even in the short time, it became clear what Rebelle is doing, the way we want to pursue, and also that we are really acting in a not only super huge and attractive market, but in a super strongly growing one, which is pushed by a strong ESG megatrend, which is here to stay. It's not going away. Same for the shift in consumers' mindset. So we really believe that our segment just started. We are right now aiming for the first green IPO on European Nasdaq. in the coming days. Fingers crossed everything works out. In general, I think I can talk for us as management team when I say that besides the money-making opportunity, which we of course see behind this business, what drives us the most is to really see that we have the chance to change something here in one of the dirtiest industries in the world. And we have laid quite a good and scalable basis for that over the last years. So we are really looking with a long-term perspective into a very bright future, I would say. And yeah, we are here for questions if you may have some, and if you want to join our journey one day, of course, we would be very happy.
Great. Right on time. Thank you very much, Cecilia and Alex. So perhaps we could kick off by asking, why did you choose Nasdaq Stockholm for your listing?
It was an idea of one of our shareholders. I didn't mention anything on our shareholders, but we have two Nordic shareholders from Denmark, both based in Copenhagen. And they came pretty much 1 year ago up with the idea to say, like, wouldn't an IPO be a wonderful way to secure our really long-term approach to winning this market? And I said, yes, but according to my experience, you need to be a bit bigger for an IPO, especially in Germany, since we don't have a very vibrant small cap market. And they said, well, let's look at it again, and let's look at it also in a very open manner. Let's look at also some international exchanges. And pretty early in the process, we ended up talking to the senior management of Nasdaq, and they said, well, this could be actually a very good fit, because we're very much having the idea to establish ourselves more and more as a hub for European growth companies. And also, I think what they obviously already had in mind is that they were to start this green designation. And of course, our company, our business model, all being about sustainability is a very good fit for that. And yeah, it all came together. We were introduced to a few players in the Stockholm scene and so on, and all started from there. And I must say, from A to Z, it's been a very welcoming experience to a very vibrant and dynamic ecosystem as I have gotten to know it now.
Thank you, Alex. And you touched upon this in your presentation, but which markets are you active in today, and what do your expansion plans look like going forward?
Yeah, maybe I take this on. Like for us, we always saw the European Union as our core market, but as Alex said, our main market still on buyer and on seller side is Germany or the German-speaking countries. So right now we are on the way and with the big aim on further internationalizing the business and the marketplace. So we will further gain traction in the Nordics, in Italy as like one of our very interesting strategic markets also, like also in the Benelux and in Spain, for instance.
Thank you. And have you partnered with any specific first-hand buyers that you would like to share?
We have partnered a lot over the last years with several partners from the first-hand industry, be it luxury retailers or also brands themselves, such as Mytheresa, just to name an example. And here as I said, we clearly see that there are so many motivation right now and the willingness to really also tap and step into the resale segment, as this is also what their customers are asking for. But they, like around 60% of their, by statistics, are planning to do this with a professional reseller on their side, just because it's like really tremendously complex to build these operations up from scratch, and this is just not their core business. So we will definitely partner with way more partners in the next coming years.
Yes, I believe that's the right way to go, because scale is really what will be your biggest competitive advantage, I believe. So with this upcoming capital injection, I hope you put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and simply grow your business. It's also very good to see that you're such a sustainable company, and you're compensating for all the outbound deliveries that you send out, carbon compensating, and looking forward to being part of the first green IPO, just like you mentioned. Thank you very much, guys, and best of luck.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
So we'll be soon joined by Plagassi. Please join us in a few minutes. Hello and welcome back, everyone. With me right now, I have Plagassi, represented by Torsten and Gustav, CEO and CFO. Please, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. We are a company of Plagazi, and my name is Torsten Granberg, and I have 40 years of experience within the field of process industry around Europe and Americas. And I'm a master's degree in chemical engineering, and I've been heading different companies on the C-level, like gas company of AGA, Studsvik, and gas compressors, another type of industries. And I've been since 2008 running the Plagassi company, where I did 2008 look at the plasma gasifier in Russia, where I saw the outgoing clean gases and filed for a patent, which was granted later on. That's now the base for the whole Plagassi company. And together with me, I have Gustav. Who are you?
Yes. Hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Gustav Granberg. I'm the CFO of Plagassi. This is a family company, so hence the common last name. I have a background in finance as leading multiple consumer goods for Procter & Gamble for multiple years. And then once the hydrogen economy started growing, obviously the first choice was to join Torsten and the rest of the team to grow Plagassi forward. So today we're here to present Plagassi, a company built on the patented process of producing green hydrogen out of difficult waste, or waste which is hard to recycle today. And the key concept and the key reason to why we're here today to talk to all of you is because in the background we have a significant global warming problem. We have a need to find renewable solutions to producing energy, but also the need to take care of our growing waste issue that we have around Europe and the rest of the world. I mean, just as an example, we all are aware of the insane CO2 emissions that come out of the treatment of plastics, the amount of CO2 that is emitted while burning the plastic itself. So behind this also there is a growing need for an establishment of a climate strategy. So in the last years, not only the UN, but also the big organizations within Europe has put a huge emphasis on making sure that we find renewable ways of producing green hydrogen, but also taking care in a circular way of the waste that we have in motion. That has led to the fact that green hydrogen has become the talking point and really the new strategy forward into making our climate neutral or making our society neutral by 2050. And also become the way that green hydrogen should be the sustainable way of taking care of replacing gray hydrogen production and usage, but also other fossil fuels. Hence, we see a huge market growth over the next coming years. So this is where we come into the picture. So as mentioned earlier by Torsten, we have the patented process on taking care of waste which today has no real value. So waste which is incinerated or put on landfills because we have no good way of treating it. So what we can offer and what our patent and our process does is the fact that we can take care of this waste and produce hydrogen and CO2 out of it, which has a value. And the CO2 in this manner is captured in a liquid form to be reused in other industries or stored away. So what we can offer is that we can offer a very high in demand product that will grow the growing and will help grow the growing energy market. Also, we can do so in a very cost efficient manner. So we have a very, we'll talk about it a bit later, but a very cost efficient manner on how we take care and produce the hydrogen. And also we can reduce emissions significantly, not only because the fact that we can take care of waste which is otherwise incinerated, but also we can also replace the gray hydrogen and also fossil fuels in industry, transport, etc. So today we have, or for the last couple of years, since the hydrogen market started growing, Plagassi has been fighting very hard to ensure that we have a competitive and strong customer portfolio. So we have wanted since the early stage to become a European company and stretched our projects and customers across multiple markets, as you can see here. Our main goal is to have the first Plagassi unit in motion and running in 2024. And this is what we're working hard to do and really to grow and scale the business further. So how does the process work, Torsten?
Yeah, it works that way. We are taking care of non-recyclable waste to take care of a waste problem, which we put into a plasma gasifier that treats the waste up to high temperature, more than 3000 degrees, and then take away all the molecules and destroy the whole thing and just produce pure syngas. And from there, we're going to create a lot of energy from the outgoing gases, and also taking care if there are some standard or some chlorine in the waste. And also we're going to clean it up all the way to pure hydrogen and pure CO2. And we're going to utilize the energy in the waste that can't be taken care of and use it internally, which makes the whole process very competitive. So we're just going to need 1/5 of the energy compared to what electrolyzers need for hydrogen production. And also we're going to produce quite a lot of hydrogen from this type of unit compared to what another type of hydrogen production can do.
Yeah, so as a finance guy, it's my role also to point out that this process, I mean, we are taking care of a problem, a waste problem, and producing hydrogen out of this problem that can be used to drive the energy sector forward, and also create a renewable means of helping other type of industry and households. Very important to say here that is also that we get paid for taking care of the waste because there is a problem. We also get paid of any type of rest products that comes out of the gasification stage, such as metals, which we can sell to metal refineries. We also, of course, have a value from the hydrogen, and of course, also a value from the outgoing liquid and captured CO2, which can be used to sell to different type of industries, or to store it away and selling the carbon credits from the process. So all in all, it's a very enclosed, efficient, and energy efficient process, which means that the production cost is very competitive. So this is a very nice idea on paper, and for us it was very important to find and to build our proof of concept to ensure that we can prove this on a large scale basis. In front of you, you have the InCoax plant in Arlington, US. This is a full-scale production plant that treats waste in a plasma gasification process, same way we will do it. This is owned by InCoax, who is the company who will provide and supply the plasma gasification step in our process. They're our exclusive partner for Europe. They will be the supplier of this step, and it fits like a hand in the glove in our patented process, which is the patent on producing hydrogen and liquefied CO2 out of waste. One thing to mention here that's very important is that the plants that we're planning and building right now in Europe are the same size versus this one you have in front of you, meaning the fact that there's no scale-up risk, and we'll deploy the same type of size across all our portfolio to ensure that we can have efficient go-to-market, and also ensure that we can have a good way of really building the company forward. So as I mentioned earlier, this size that we're talking about is the so-called HE2000 plant. This is our design that is based on the size that you have in InCoax on that plasma gasification oven that they have and supply. This is 8 modules in this plant, so 8 sub-steps, one from the waste preparation all the way up to the hydrogen production or the hydrogen outlet. This is a standardized Plagassi size. We do not want, as mentioned earlier, no scale-up risk, no issues with that manner. We want to keep it very simple and standardized across all our projects to ensure that the fact that we can go to market quicker and have no risk when running the plant. This is all based on our and Torsten's experience of managing the on-site supply units in AGA and how to, in the most efficient manner, work this forward. So the size and the dimensions of such a plant, as you see here in front of you, you have a little visual on the plant that we have in the US, is the fact that this unit can treat 22,000 tons of waste a year. It produces up to 5,000 tons of hydrogen a year and 50,000 tons of CO2 a year. This can be done at a production cost below 3 euros per kilogram of hydrogen. So here we are talking about that we can build the hydrogen market at a very competitive production cost today, and which we are currently in the ranges of what's required for the year of 2030 and above. When you talk to electrolyzers, we can today produce green hydrogen at a very competitive cost because of the fact that we, according to this size in front of you, can get paid for the waste in. We have a low electricity and energy consumption externally because we take care of the waste that has a lot of energy inside that we can reuse, and we have a very high output per kilogram of hydrogen put in. So I don't know if we get a big picture of that business model slide, because I think it's very important for the viewers to see exactly the dimensions of this. But this is how it looks, and this is the volumes that can be produced each year. For the customer, of course, it's also very attractive because based on a very reduced hydrogen selling price, they can have a break even already after 5 years because of the low production cost that we can achieve. So also very important to mention is that the fact that we have a very low CO2 footprint, a negative one in that matter. This is certified by DNV, one of the biggest certification agencies in the world, which has certified that we have, since we take care and replace incineration of difficult waste types such as plastics and capture the CO2, we're a net reducer of CO2 in the environment. So we have not only a competitive production cost, innovative technology, we also have a very strong CO2 footprint, which is today is very important when talking to customers and market and investors. So who are we? I mean, Plagassi has developed significantly in the last years. From being a family company, we have now tried to grow the organization and want to do so further. We have strengthened our board of directors, but the newest additions are Giorgio Chatzimarkakis, which is the CEO of Hydrogen Europe, the biggest hydrogen organization in Europe. Valérie Dujardin, which has invaluable experience within taking care and financing renewable projects, and has previously been running and leading Symbiotics in Switzerland. We have also Richard Fish, which was the previous CEO and chairman of Alter Energy, or also known as Westinghouse Plasma, but the biggest plasma gasification company in the world at the time. So as a plasma gasification company, it's very important for us to have such leadership a part of our team. Moreover, in our advisory board, which is also very important, they help us. We have a very active advisory and board of directors that help us strategically also with day-to-day basis. We have Dr. Stefan Kaufmann, who is the current commissioner for green hydrogen in Germany. So he's the one who leads the German hydrogen strategy. So a very important member in our go-to-market when it comes to the German projects. Jürgen Andersson, which is the former Minister of Interior and Energy, also chairman of Vattenfall, has been a member of our advisory board for many years. Tove Johannesson, former managing director of Volvo Cars, who helps us a lot with the automobile industry and how to make sure we can get the most value out. Thomas Kåberger, who is a board member currently of Vattenfall and former head of the Swedish Energy Agency, also a member for a long time. We have one of our customers, our German customer outside Berlin. Their CEO, Christian Gerstedt, is not only an investor and shareholder in Plagassi, he also believes in this very well to help us as an advisor to grow our foothold in Germany from a waste to hydrogen perspective. Jakob Lagerkrantz, who is the founder and CEO of Sekretariat 2030 or 2030. And also the latest addition, Sven Otto Littorin, which is the former Minister of Employment and Labour in Sweden, who helps us to clearly define and communicate our company strategy forward. So this is us. This is who we are. It was a pleasure to present to all of you. And hopefully you want to be part of a way forward in how to really lead the green hydrogen market.
Thank you very much for an excellent presentation. I'm going to start off with some questions on the hydrogen market in general. How do you see that develop in the next 3 to 5 years?
The hydrogen market will develop heavily. It will start with the green part, small volumes, and end up with larger scale coming out with new type of green hydrogen, and also starting with us, due to the fact that we are ready to get going, and we're going to do it in a certain way outside the box differently, because we're going to take care of the waste, which is a problem, and we're going to produce green hydrogen at a very competitive level, which means you can enable application and usage you're not able to do right now on a green base. Mm-hmm. So we will be the trigger to get this market to start.
Yes, I currently heard that in Japan, they're currently trying out a new hydrogen-fueled train, and also Airbus have announced plans to have an aeroplane in a commercially viable aeroplane in 2035. That is of course a bit further down the line, but still, also reading about boats also being powered by hydrogen and other biogases. So for sure, the market of hydrogen is growing. What separates your technology from your competitors?
There's quite a different things. We are first utilizing a waste that does exist, a problem does exist that we solve. We take care of that, and then we treat it heavily in high temperature, which means that we can able to capture the CO2 and then produce pure hydrogen on a fuel cell base at a very, very competitive level. And also that we have we have determined the size of the plant, which is a good volume and a good income and a good return on investment. And also we are standardized the whole thing compared to some other competitor who is tailor making all the plants by customer.
I see, thank you. And your project Köping Hydrogen Park is quite exciting and is set to be one of the largest hydrogen projects in Europe. Can you tell us more about what that development means for Plagassi?
It means a lot, and it proves the need for hydrogen at the market. We established a large volume of 12,000 tons of hydrogen at this site in Köping, at the Köping Hydrogen Park, where we have takers of the hydrogen that is rushing to us to get the hydrogen directly at a competitive price and a very good price for us as well, the costs, and shows that there is a market. It's not just talks. So we are really happy to do this work and to be one of the largest hydrogen site in Europe, where we need 10 megawatt to make this 50 megawatt hydrogen compared to 75 megawatt for electrolyzers for the same scope. In the same time, we are boosting the district heating in Köping and replacing an old combustion plant that's 50 years old. Thank you.
Perfect. It sounds like almost too good to be true, taking waste and turning it into green hydrogen, green gold, an asset. So solving two problems at the same time. Thank you very much for the presentation here today once again, and good luck going forward.
You will do our very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll now take a short break and be back in just a minute or two with ZignSec. Join us then. Hello and welcome back, everyone. It is now time for Tim Schneider, CEO of ZignSec, to present. Please, Tim, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Tim. I'm a CEO of ZignSec. We are a RegTech platform. We call it a one-stop shop for compliance, and I will tell you in a little bit why we call it a one-stop shop. We do help regulated and self-regulated companies to get compliant or to stay compliant. And if you read recent newspapers almost on a weekly basis, then it's omnipresent that these type of services are extremely important. This event is just 2 days ahead of our quarter report, so I won't be able to talk about the recent figures here, but we will see the performance of the company and also what we have done up to here and what we want to do in the near future. Since the topic is pretty complex, I've decided to put a small video in the front because you will get a lot of know-how of things that we do, terminology, and afterwards a presentation will make much more sense for you. So here's our one-stop shop. Let's get this started. If it starts.
Yeah, it looks like it's running.
Yeah.
Any regulated company with aspirations to grow, expand, and compete on the global market needs to ensure cross-border compliance. This usually entails considerable costs and challenges with little to no margin for error. Well, not anymore. Connect with ZignSec to overcome the complexity and the divergence of cross-border compliance. ZignSec is your one-stop shop offering regulatory technology that caters a stellar customer onboarding, due diligence and monitoring. A single connection to ZignSec grants organisations access to our comprehensive portfolio of automated KYC, KYB, anti-fraud and AML compliance solutions providing global coverage. Organisations that connect with ZignSec escape several integration interfaces as they utilise a single interface for all their compliance solutions, workflows and processes. And they don't have to expend time and resources finding various compliance solution providers. Our platform aggregates the best compliance solutions in each market and allows connected organisations to combine these into a seamless workflow according to their specific industry standards or local regulations. All through a single connection to our API or our no-code compliance manager. Our no-code compliance manager is a web tool that enables organisations to build, optimise and automate workflows while connecting them with the best global and local compliance solutions. With the easy-to-learn drag and drop feature, even a non-IT person is qualified to build and orchestrate a KYC and KYB process. In case of, for example, regulatory changes, organisations easily re-engineer and rapidly deploy any alterations or optimizations to their workflows and processes. All it takes is a single connection to ZignSec, and your organisation will have a seamless automated KYC or KYB process for customer onboarding, due diligence and monitoring, all custom-made for your specific industry and country of choice. ZignSec continuously aggregates compliance solutions on a global scale, allowing your organisation to stay ahead of regulatory changes and ensure perpetual cross-border compliance. Get it all with one connection, all in one contract, all paid via one invoice. ZignSec, your one-stop shop for compliance.
Great. So, long story short, to summarize the video, our services are not just a nice to have for the customers that we have. The services are a must-have for the regulated businesses on a global scale. The reason why our customers choose ZignSec are manifold, and one of the reasons is we have a global coverage through one interface, through one invoice, and can distribute. We have a global coverage for one invoice and one interface. We are a specialist in orchestrating specialist providers on a global scale. So often I get the question, how can you do the service in Manila? How can you do a service in the Philippines? How can you do the service in Latin America? And this is because we do connect to specialist providers. and orchestrate them into a workflow so that we can provide the services according to the local market needs. No single specialist provider can keep up or can provide the services that we have through our platform, because obviously they specialize in one certain area, and we can aggregate the services into a workflow that then makes them comply with their local regulation. ZignSec as such is a provider independent operator. So we are not owned by a bank, or we don't have to report to a regulator. But we do orchestrate many specialist providers. If you connect to ZignSec, the service level is much higher if you would integrate with a single provider, because we have something that's called smart routing. People would often know this, for example, from payment processing, where if something is not working, you can switch to another provider. And that is something that we can provide going forward. We provide a service. If something is not working, we can switch it to a different service. The next reason why our clients choose us is that if you need to have multiple compliance services in different countries, you have to pay a startup fee, you have to have integration projects, and you have to have very often monthly minimums to pay. If you connect with us, everything is done once, and you don't need to go to the specific providers. So this is what we call aggregation, and you only have to deal with us. What it means is that we also save operational costs. Every time you would need to integrate with a specific provider, you would need to have your staff, your IT team, to integrate, to plan a project, and that obviously costs you a lot of operational time and resources. Through ZignSec, you do it once, and you get all markets. What we see here is the typical landscape that our clients face when they find out I have to get a new identity provider, I have to get a new service provider in a market for a specific regulation to comply. And without ZignSec, you have a very fragmented market. There's a different provider that you have to use in Sweden, then you need one in Spain, you need one in the US. So you have a lot of integration work, you have a lot of time you need to spend, and with ZignSec, you get one interface, and our clients tell us there is a provider we need, and we can simply add it. It's our core business to continuously integrate new solutions instead of our clients. So we are really the aggregator and help them to succeed with their compliance demands. So our solution is split into three main areas. That is onboarding, due diligence, and monitoring. The onboarding part is everything that is connected with the intake of a client. And the intake of a client can be a private client, but the intake of a client can also be a whole company, which is much more complex at the phase of the onboarding. And it's very important to have a seamless system throughout that whole chain, because the earlier you collect the data, the sooner you can start your risk management, the sooner you can start acting and filter, do I want to do business? Can I do business with this particular person or with this particular company? So after onboarding, it comes into the due diligence part of life. You have already found out through some matrices, through some processes that you might want to continue with a specific client. And now you do a full due diligence. And again, a couple of, or like many providers are necessary in order to do a full due diligence according to, say, a bank that wants to grant a loan for a company, for a private person. If you buy a house, then you have due diligence processes on the back of it. So whatever is the due diligence process, it contains a lot of specific providers that you need to reach out to. Once the due diligence is done, it continues because you need to monitor, is the status of that company, is the status of that person continuously as we had it at the time of underwriting. And that is a very great business for us as well, because that is a recurring business and we grow with the clients of our clients. So through the onboarding channel, done the due diligence, and now monitoring starts, and it adds up every single day. So ZignSec is an independent provider for global onboarding, due diligence, and monitoring solutions. And that's why we call it the one-stop shop. This goes hand in hand with our vision that we become the #1 cross-border compliance aggregator and a global leader in onboarding, due diligence, and monitoring. So let's look back a little bit of the start of our company and where we are now. The logic of the acquisitions and what we have done so far. So in 2019, ZignSec got listed on Nasdaq First North. So at that time, we already had a declared build and buy strategy. So we knew that becoming a leader in this space, you can't just rely on full organic growth. We also need to have certain specialists and certain access to markets from time to time. So we started off as an EID aggregator. And in 2020, also when I became a CEO in April, we really wanted to do a global rollout pretty fast. And it was very evident that we need additional tools on top of electronic identities. And the next very logical step for electronic identities, as we know it, for example, here in Sweden with Bank ID, is to have biometric checks for persons. But this comes along with various other checks that you need to do to come up to the same standard. We tried a couple of solutions. We integrated one, we integrated another one. We found out it is very, very different in which part of the world you perform these checks. And we knew we needed some more know-how in-house. That then also led to the acquisition of Basis ID. So what we can do here now immediately is we can fill the gap and fill a delta between 1, 2, or 3 solutions when a certain country cannot be conquered with the solutions that are integrated. Almost at the same time, it was also clear that adding so many new solutions needed a massive refactoring of the system, needed some good push on the technology side as well. And we need a really rock solid workflow engine that can contribute to the target to have solutions in onboarding, due diligence, and monitoring. So we started also pretty early to use the Vator system so that we can configure exactly to the needs of our clients. And finally, also early in 21, we could close the transaction with Visa. And since Visa has become more and more our core system, and status as of today is that this workflow engine is our system. So we do have very good solutions. We do have a very good workflow engine that can contribute to fast integrations on a global scale. But what was missing also to a certain extent is access to market. The market we are in is it's a very large market, but it's also a slow market. It takes time to really get into the correct discussions with all our target clients. And we had one part missing in the chain. So that was the due diligence part, and WebShield is the perfect fit for these plans, because WebShield is one of 5 global providers that can do due diligence for merchant onboarding in the merchant in the card acquiring space. And through this ability, we get access to a lot of licensed entities that are 100% our target market. So that was a very good fit. As said, I cannot disclose the figures, but it will be Friday. But if we look back a little bit what happened over the last 4 quarters, then we see that we really are on a fast track and a good way to reach our communicated targets. And I'm really much looking forward for Friday, and then I believe we'll have a lot of calls also from our friends and shareholders. And so back to the status. Visa has become our core engine. This means that the previous ZignSec system, all the functionalities, everything that is needed to perform our business is now running through the unified interface of Visa. So the public APIs, the internal communication system, documentation, everything runs through that system. All group services from Basis ID and also from WebShield already are orchestrated through that system. So are all services that we plug to the system, any external providers. Doing so, we have unified our IT efforts drastically. We run very lean processes, and that is the basis for a very uniform sales strategy that we are going to push forward. So WebShield, Basis ID, and any other solution is equally available through the API. At the moment, we have to report all group companies, but from a sales perspective, it's already unifying into one sales force. This will also become very clear very soon once we launch our new SaaS portal. That will be unified access for all clients and all products of the company. So that is, so to say, the one-stop shop, then also accessing our system.
Tim, I'm sorry, but we're running out of time.
Okay.
And I have to interrupt you there. Let's just round up with 2 questions.
Yes.
First one is a yes or no question.
Okay.
Is your solution out of the box, or is it customizable?
Yeah, both. Yes. Yes.
Both.
So both. So we do have already packages, ready-made packages per industry. But the beauty of the solution is that with no development changes, it is possible to adapt into a new workflow.
I see.
So it is out of the box, but like shirts tailor-made to be ready. Yeah.
Okay. And there's a lot of talk about open banking, of course, after the latest regulations, and we have seen several Swedish companies, not the least, taking advantage of this, providing account-to-account services. How do you view this trend? Is this something beneficial for you, or?
I mean, we are connected to multiple open banking providers, not for the service of payment transfers. So we don't do payments, but for the for checks, for services.
You mean like KYC,
yeah,
KYB?
in the course of a KYC, in some countries you need to check the bank account, and we have connectivities into open banking providers utilizing their functionalities. Yes.
Okay. I suppose, have you communicated publicly any goals or estimates for organic growth going forward?
Only what we have published already. So no updates at this point.
Okay, and what's the latest?
So we said always 100 million by end of 2022 in revenue and 20 million in EBITDA.
Okay.
So far this has not changed. We have not communicated difference.
Okay. That's a really aggressive statement, given the, I mean, aggressive in a way that it's impressive, but obviously you're on your way to achieving that. So we're looking forward to getting updated goals from you.
With the entities and the companies we have signed up at the moment, there's no reason why not.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Yeah, thanks for the time.
Good luck.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
So please join us after this brief break when we'll speak to or listen to Precise Biometrics. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. It is now time for Patrick Höjer, CEO of Precise Biometrics, to present. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you. And actually, it's pretty cool, but thank you, David. Our new CEO, Patrick, is joining us in 1st of June. So I'm here to represent Precise, and I'm glad to present to you. My name is Fredrik Sjöholm. I'm head of sales at Precise, and I'm also interim CEO from 1st of March until Patrick joins us in beginning of June. So today I would like to spend the next 15 minutes to present to you and give you an overview of the company, a brief update on the Q4 results that we presented last Friday, and also some input and forward-looking area what our focus is for the company going forward before we end up and take questions. So I would like to start with this slide showing our vision as a company, and there are a few important takeaways from this vision. So we focus on our business around identification, and specifically identification that can be done in a digital and fully digital way that can be used for various applications. Identification in our digital age must be done in a very secure way, but it's also extremely important that it's done conveniently. Otherwise, you will not use the solution by all parts of the value chain. And specifically, as you see here, it's very important that also the end users, of course, can use the system in a very convenient but also secure way. So for the end user, it's important to know that no matter who you are, where you are, and what you do, you are the key. And we base much of what we do on biometrics to reach this vision. So how do we operate in the company? Well, we operate in two business units. The first one is digital identity. This is where we develop and sell identification and verification solutions through our two brand names, YOUNiQ and East Coast. And I'll come back to both of them in a while. The other business unit is Algo. This is where we offer software for fingerprint sensors or fingerprint applications that can be used for a number of use cases through the two major brand names we have, Biomatch and BioLife. Let me describe those two business units to you in the next update here. So if we start with digital identity, this is our newest business area. It was established in 2018, and this is where we provide a fully digital identification and verification solution. We base the business here on biometric modalities that we can combine according to the business needs and the customer applications. There are a large number of potential application areas in this segment. So for us, it's extremely important to have focus. Focus is key for us here. And our first focus for this business unit is physical access. So access to facilities, spaces, office spaces, buildings in various ways. And we do that through the product YOUNiQ. The other product area that we just added just before Christmas is the visitor management system East Coast that is so far supplied into the Nordic markets. So in this business area, it was important when we started to develop it that from the very beginning, it was important for us to develop the platform in close collaboration with partners. So in a modern world like today, we realized that we cannot develop everything ourselves. So we developed this system in collaboration with partners, and I'll come back to that soon, what type of partners we're talking about. Very important is also that we operate this business through a SaaS, software as a service business model, which of course is giving us a high degree of recurring revenues, but also possibilities to earn higher margins. So we also developed this business area due to the profitable Algo business area that we have as a baseline in the business. Some of the benefits that we provide to customers are, if you look at them one by one, we provide a fully digital end-to-end solution here. We provide a system that is easy to use, and it's easy to use for the end user, but it's also very easy to administer for the customer and their staff. And of course, as a baseline, it's always built with the purpose of providing a high security solution. And I would say that all of these three benefits together provide, I would say, rather unique and very strong value for this segment. So physical access provided in a fully digital way with high security and ease of use. So looking at the journey we made here, we started this business unit in 2018, as I said. In 2019, we launched it at the end of the year, and we launched it with a focus of physical access, as I said. During the last 2 years, 2020 and 21, we have now achieved more than 60 installations. So customers and commercial customers and pilot projects in various applications. And then by end of last year, as we acquired East Coast, we quickly ramped up the number of installations to more than 1,000 due to their customer base of about 700 customers. So I would say today we are well prepared and ready for an acceleration of the offering and accelerate both the YOUNiQ and East Coast position in Sweden, where we have the focus today. But we've also started to expand into the other parts of the Nordic region, with first installations in Norway, actually, for example, happening right now as we speak. So who are EastCoast then? Well, EastCoast is the leading visitor management solution in Sweden. I think if you visit companies today in Sweden, if you look at the invitation email that you receive and the check-in box, you would quite often see that it's EastCoast delivering the solution to that company. When we acquired them, we immediately got an acceleration of our SaaS business within the digital identity area because they operate fully under a SaaS model. So we significantly increased both our revenue streams, but also our technology know-how and knowledge base within physical access. So with those two companies, or two products and two companies together, Unique and EastCoast, we see that we can achieve a number of significant synergies and value creation for our customers. But we also see that we can scale and get a better geographical coverage. As I said, EastCoast brings about 700 customers with about 1,000 installations to us. What is also important and critical part of success, as we see it with this acquisition, is that we have close synergies in terms of people and culture. That's for us a very important part of a successful integration, so that we share the same open mindset and an agile way of working. And we found a really good match in EastCoast. The integration work is going well, and it's well underway. And actually, we will showcase the first product or the first integration product solution for the market at a security show in Norway, in Oslo, at ZignSec in 2 weeks from now. So it has gone well above our expectations so far in the integration work. So I mentioned partners, and these play a very, very key role for us. We have, over the last 3 years, built up an extensive network of partners, both when we look at platform partners or typically access management solutions. So you see here pretty much many of the leading access management solutions in the Swedish market, but also some of the international ones, where we integrate our unique products with those. But we also offer the products through distributors. So we tap into the existing distributor network in Sweden through distributor and wholesalers of security and access systems. And then, of course, we work through installation companies and system integrators who act both as installers for us, so they install the necessary hardware and install the software and adapt it to the customers. And they also resell the system, so they have possibilities to resell the system as well directly to their customers. And then we have a growing network of technology partners who provide part of our platform, but also provide specific solutions for specific use cases. And I think you've seen some of our press releases in these around these partners over the last few months. So if we move to the customer side, well, as I said, we have today about 60 installations of the Unique system in Sweden that we built up over the last 2 years, and then an additional 700 customers for EastCoast solutions. And I would like to bring up one example of a customer and share the journey we've made with them over the last years. So this is Algeco. Algeco is one of the major providers of temporary buildings. We provide temporary buildings for both living, office spaces, education, schools, etc. And they decided 2 years ago to install Unique at the large battery factory that is being built in Skellefteå in the northern Sweden. And I remember still that in one of the first meetings we had with them, one of the team members at Algeco told us that ever since he joined Algeco about 8 years before, he had wanted to see a solution where he could distribute access rights without physically having to hand out keys. That has been a kind of a dream and objective for him since he joined. And actually, in less than 3 months, we provided exactly that to Algeco. So we now have a system where we have almost close to 1,000 rooms where Algeco and their customer can distribute access rights and provide bookings to those 1,000 rooms fully digital without handing out any single keys at all. And this is all based on biometrics. So we have also now taken the first steps to add further services to this customer. So in addition to access, we also provide environmental control, so controlling heating and lighting, etc. in the rigs, because we have basically digitalized their temporary rigs fully with the system. So what is then the market potential as we see it for our digital identity business area? Well, we made an estimation and analysis of the, for us, as we see it, addressable market in the potential in the Nordic region. And today it's close to about 3 billion Swedish SEK. And this is for the Nordic market alone. So I would say we have only started yet to tap this opportunity. So moving over to our algo business. Algo is, well, it stands short for algorithms. So in short, this is basically the foundation for precise biometrics. And this is where our biometric expertise has been built up over the last plus 20 years. And this is where we develop and sell software algorithms that are used for fingerprint recognition. And these software applications are used, well, they're used in a number of applications. Most, I would say, notably in the mobile phone space. So today we have more than 400 Android phones in the market who have or are using our software for identifying the user and giving access to the phone. We work in close collaborations with partners such as Edis Technology, for example, from Taiwan, Qualcomm, US large player in the mobile segment, and the products we deliver here, they are primarily used in 3 segments or 3 sub-segments: mobile, embedded smart cards, and most recently automotive. So looking a bit closer on the characteristics for those markets. If we look at mobile, we have a market with a high volume, annual volume of devices. We have plus 1 billion phones. We have a few 100 million PCs and laptops and tablets. It's a mature market. It was introduced in 2013, the first fingerprint sensor on a mobile phone, but it has constantly evolved. So we find new use cases being addressed today. Large sensors under displays, etc. The unit prices are, I would say, on the lower scale, but of course the volumes are high, and we have a constantly changing product life cycle of about 12 to 18 months for these products. We integrate, or our customers are typically hardware sensor providers who integrate our software into their modules and sell to OEMs, to mobile OEMs. Many of the customers are, of course, in Asia in this segment. For smart cards, that's what we call smart cards and embedded. This is also a market where we have a high number of units, of course. We have plus 2 billion contactless smart cards, which would be the addressable market here. They are used both for payment, of course, to a large extent, but also increasingly for access, secure access. It's a market that, though, is not yet proven. It's the first commercial projects have started, but it's still to be proven in big volumes. We will probably see lower unit prices here as well, because otherwise, it's basically required to get smart cards out in higher volumes. But it's slightly longer product life cycles, and the same here. We also integrate. Our software is integrated into modules consisting of sensors and processors. A few of our customers have already integrated our software into modules that are approved by MasterCard. In the automotive segment, this is the latest edition, and I think you might have seen our press releases by the end of last year, where we signed up 2 automotive ODMs. in this segment. This is, of course, a market with lower volumes compared to the others, but still a sizable market. It's a young market. It's just started to appear. We have seen the first few car models with fingerprint sensors, and I'm pretty sure we will see more coming out in the coming years. So on the good side, the unit price is higher. Longer life cycles, of course, 7 to 10 years typically for a car model. And here it's a slightly different business model for us, because we sell here to ODMs who build a larger module, not only a fingerprint sensor, but integrate it into a panel or a larger display, for example, in a car. And they in turn sell them to the big car makers. So a stable, profitable business unit, in short. So moving into our report that we presented last week on Friday. We presented our Q4 and full year results. And a brief summary, we increased our net sales by about 20% compared to Q4 2020. And this was driven by growth both from our licenses in Algo, but also growth within the digital identity area. We have now an annual recurring revenue at the end of the year of approximately 30 million, to a large extent, of course, attributable to the acquisition of East Coast, but also to increased sales in the unique product line. We have a slightly lower gross margin, which is explained by that we sell also hardware to a larger extent, together with our software solutions in the digital identity area. We had a positive EBITDA and also a positive cash flow from the operations. So during the quarter, we continued to expand our SaaS business model within digital identity, and also an increasing number of unique installations during the quarter. We expanded into the automotive segment for our Algo business, as I explained. And after the end of the quarter and beginning of January, we also announced a cooperation with Infineon to cooperate with them to bring fingerprint technology to the automotive industry. So to summarize what the focus for us as a company is going forward. Well, overall, we see a very strong potential for commercial potential for the digital identity business area. During the last 3 years since we started to build and commercialize Unique, we have been able to build a very strong customer portfolio. But we've also built a strong partner network, which is crucial, as I explained before, within the security and access market in Sweden in a very short time frame. And based on this, we see that there is a significant potential to continue that journey, and we have a clear focus to build the business in a controlled way. We've started in Sweden, but also now slowly expanding into the rest of the Nordic region, and we've taken the first steps, as I said, in Norway already with the first installations. We will continue to focus on building a scalable business model around on a SaaS business model. Annual recurring revenues is a key part, and this is important for us to secure recurring revenues, but also high margins, of course, due to that. And we will, of course, continue to expand our Algo business. This is a profitable business area, as I said, and we have a very strong position here. We will continue to expand and also expand both with our existing customers, but into new segments, but in a controlled way when we find profitable business opportunities for us. So overall, we have quite a few clear strategic initiatives for us to grow, both in our Algo and our digital identity business. So by that, I would like to thank you for listening and be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Fredrik. Congratulations on the Q4 report numbers. And also, let's kick off the Q&A. How will the new collaboration partnership with Infineon Technologies and Precise Biometrics benefit your business?
Well, Infineon is one of the largest electronics and processor suppliers to the automotive industry, but also to other adjacent industries such as payment and other embedded devices. So when they bring our and promote our algorithm software platform together with their both sensor and MCU into the market, of course it will help us get into new products, but also potential into new segments over time. So we see a very positive development and area forward for us there.
Okay, and how will you continue to grow your digital identity business?
Well, we have, I would say, a very clear plan to continue invest in expanding both sales, but of course also the product offering. And we will do that through both partners and resellers. We will continue to integrate YOUNiQ into the existing access management systems in the geographies where we operate, so currently in Sweden, but as I said, going forward also to the other Nordic countries. And we will, of course, invest in the integration now between YOUNiQ and the acquired East Coast product lines, so that we will see a combined offering together with East Coast going forward, where we will provide significant value to both existing, but of course also to new customers. So I would say also outside of, we've actually seen the first few installations also of YOUNiQ outside of the Nordic region, and that is typically something we see when we follow our larger customers out. So for example, we've done one installation in Germany with Algeco. So we of course see that can continue as well. But overall, it's very important for us to have a clear focus and expand in a controlled way.
Okay, thank you very much, Fredrik, and good luck on your future journey.
Thank you very much.
So now we will take a short break and be back in about 5 minutes with InCoax Networks. Join us then. Welcome back, everyone. It is now time for InCoax Networks to present with the CEO, Jörgen Ekengren. Welcome, Jörgen.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Jörgen Ekengren, the CEO of InCoax Networks since almost 2 years now. InCoax Networks consist of approximately 25 employees. We have 2 sites, one in Lund, one in Gävle, and then we work with external partners, mainly in software and hardware development. We provide fiber access extension solutions to world-leading telecom and broadband service providers. To summarize, we have a solution that provides from a consumer perspective, a fiber to the home experience. But with our solution, we use the coaxial networks in the buildings, and we mainly address MDUs, multi-dwelling units, in order to achieve that fiber extension. I will explain more about that later on. During 2021, we have made a commercial breakthrough. We have ramped up a customer, an operator in the US called Google Fiber. We also signed a master purchasing agreement with this operator in December. And this is a very important milestone for us, for the future business. We see macro-wise a huge opportunity for this solution. And there are hundreds of millions of households actually that can be addressed with this solution. So the market is really there. We have also presented new financial targets a couple of weeks ago, where we say that for 2022, we intend to double our sales compared to 2021. This based on a business plan done bottom up, consists of approximately 10 operators and the service integrators, system integrators, I should say. For 2023, we expect further growth, and we have set a conservative objective of at least 50% growth relative to 2022. But then we have actually excluded one of the absolutely biggest business opportunities that we are working on right now. We also focus on, over time, increase our software content in our sales, which then also will contribute to better gross margins and also a lower working capital in the company and nice balance here. What we see in the world is a very big investment going on in the fiber infrastructure. And this investment tend to just go on, and is also heavily subsidized in many markets by governments and so on. So that is really something that creates additional market opportunities over time for a very long period of time going forward, actually. So fiber networks are really there. Then, of course, from an operator standpoint, they all face some challenges. The main strategy for an operator is normally, of course, to pull that fiber as far as possible to the households. But for different reasons, this is not always possible. And there are showstoppers, meaning that an operator cannot always connect a subscriber to this network. And that is, of course, something that all people want to overcome. And our solution really provides an opportunity for the operator to make sure that all the subscribers are also connected to the fiber networks that are being built. as I said, this opportunity is huge. So actually, we are addressing with this solution hundreds of millions of apartments or customers through the operators. We focus on some high-cost markets or highly developed markets with high labor cost, where it's also very expensive to pull the fiber all the way to a subscriber and household, especially if it's a bigger MDU. So therefore, we especially look into markets like United States, Germany, and United Kingdom. Principal solution, we connect our so-called DPU, most of the time placed in the basement or in a pedestal outside, and then connect the in-property coaxial network to our system, and then take back the signal in each apartment through a modem. The disruptive thing with our solution is that we can also provide this fiber experience to the customers or the subscribers, as our solution admits for gigabit or multi-gigabit speeds. And also many other performance data are very much competitive and in line, or at least for the current needs of a consumer, very competitive and fiber-like, I would say. So this, I will not go through all the details here, but this is a comparison between different solutions for connecting a household. And we have fiber, we have fiber LAN, we have our solution, which is based on the Mokka platform. There are two other platforms called GFast and GHN. So performance-wise, we have a very good score in a chart like this, and also cost-wise, we have a very good and competitive cost. We're not competing with full fiber to the home. Of course, an operator normally want to pull the fiber as far as possible, but as I said, many times this is not possible. So we want to see ourselves as a complement to full fiber to the home, and a tool in the operator's toolbox in order to make sure they can connect as many subscribers as possible to the network. So cost efficient and sustainable, I want to stress also, as we are reusing, I would claim we're contributing to a sustainable solution. And the good thing here is also then that this solution provides multi-gigabit speed. The added value that we create for different players here in the chain is, of course, for operators. They can achieve a lot of connections within a short time, because our solution is very simple and quick to install, which means then a short time to revenue, and also a low investment increase the ROI for the operator. For the residents, it's very much obvious. They get connected to the fiber networks and can get multi-gigabit broadband quickly. For building owners, this is also a big advantage, because there's normally no or less impact on the buildings. For installation companies, this is also an advantage, because it's a very fast deployment, and these companies can also increase their business based on this. Currently, we have deployments in the Nordics. We are in Germany, with Spain, United Kingdom, and in the US. Some macro data here. There's a KPI called homes passed, meaning how many homes are passed by the fiber in a fiber network. And for US, you can see here that it's only 42% of all the homes that could have been connected to the fiber network that actually are connected. So 60% are kind of passed by the fiber. And this gap tend to increase over time, actually, because a lot of investments are, as I said, being done in further infrastructure built out. So the gap and the need of this last mile solution, fiber extension, is increasing. All operators, of course, are announcing their expansion programs. We have a similar picture for Europe, but here we should remember that the number of MDUs in absolute numbers in Europe is much higher than in the US. So a big opportunity for Europe. Few words about Google Fiber. We started 2020 summertime with lab tests and followed by field trials. Gradually received orders and follow-on orders. Also then in December we were awarded this master purchase agreement, which is kind of a receipt that we are now officially in the preferred supplier list of Google Fiber. So I really looking forward to further expansion, and I see great opportunities coming up here. Google Fiber are active in 19 big cities in the US from coast to coast. We have currently deployment in 9 of those cities. Then in parallel, we're working with a really big business opportunity. That's with one of the biggest operators in the US, actually also in the world. So that's a very long process and also high requirements that needs to be fulfilled. So a lot of development, mainly in software, in order to be able to win that type of business. We have come very far. We are now discussing the last step. We passed the field trials back in November. So we are right now discussing about the final step here. So this is really interesting. Here we're talking about an operator with potentially, for our solution, around 1.5, 1.6 million subscribers that could be installed. In parallel to that, we are also now testing our new product that we presented last year, D2501, with Google Fiber. And we are also preparing for further lab tests with more operators, and we just started lab tests with one EU-based operator. All operators, of course, announced a lot of expansion. So our strategy is, of course, then to go after these operators that have a big expansion plan, and in parallel to that, as we have limited resources, we are also building up an indirect sales with partners. Right now, we are spending a lot of efforts on a partner company called Technetics that we then intend to have an indirect sales starting off to a greater extent. So this is our strategy. Our business model, we don't manufacture ourselves. We specify and we let partners develop. Then we spend a lot of efforts on test and to verify the whole system. So that's our core competence, to know the operator's use case and also be able to make specifications. Then we focus on software, because that's really where we can differentiate and there we can make ourselves relevant. So software is key for opening up more segments in the operator market. So we have the strategy to gradually increase the revenue streams of course, hardware sales, but also in relation to hardware, we want to increase also the software and service sales. And we're working hard to develop these models and also find new ways to charge the customer. And the objective, of course, to end up in a longer cooperation and get these recurring revenues from the operators. There's quite a long process to be a supplier to an operator, but once you're in, you can also expect that this is a long-term business that we start up. Finally, we have a management team consists of different experiences from both Ericsson, Nokia, Telia. Board of directors, also a good combination of different experiences from hard and software and operator industry. So to summarize, we have done a commercial breakthrough. We see a huge opportunity going forward. We feel confident enough to launch new financial targets for this year and for next. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jörgen. I would like to kick off the Q&A with a question from the audience. How likely is it that you do sign a deal, however you define it, with the tier 1 operator, and how much is the deal worth in potential order value in amount of Swedish crowns? I don't know how much you feel comfortable disclosing about this and your thoughts.
Yeah, in this case, we have around 1.6 million subscriber opportunity. And if we then make a conservative calculation, we can multiply these 1.6 with $100 per subscriber. That is very conservative, but could rather be 140 as well. So, but let's say 100 is simple calculation. So
quite substantial.
Then, of course, yes. Then this type of rollout goes on for several years. Of course, this will be spread out in time.
And yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, just a comment. Yeah, I feel positive, really, about the next step. So likelihood, I cannot put a number, but I feel positive about the possibility to enter into the final step and then also be able to do the business.
So you've done successful field tests, lab tests, I mean, in that order, lab tests, field tests,
yeah.
And now it's productification, or what do you call it?
Yeah, productification, commercialization, and also, of course, this operator broadens the participants. Of course, very much about the product management team, the product team, to involve and include this in the portfolio.
And are they also engaged in this, involved in this, your customer in this process?
Yes. So we have really had a quite huge participation from the operator side in this project activities. So that's also a good indicator, to me at least, that they're prepared to invest on their side as well in order to make this happen. So I'm positive.
Very interesting. Thank you. Okay. What separates? What's your unique? What's so unique about your solution and makes it stand out from other solutions out there?
As I mentioned, I think I mean what we're aiming for is, of course, to give the consumer a fiber experience, right? And as I said, operators, of course, their main strategy is to pull that fiber all the way to the end user. But when that is not possible, then the ambition is, of course, to provide a experience that is similar or same as if they were directly connected to the fiber network. So the special thing with our solution and the platform we use is that we really can deliver this multi-gigabit transmission, and that is fiber, right?
And obviously, Google Fiber didn't just pick you because you're Swedish and likable. They tested several solutions and picked you. And same for the tier one operator that have done all these tests with you successfully. So yeah. I believe that speaks for itself, basically.
Yeah, and then of course it's also ripples on the water, because even though Google Fiber is say mid-tier or tier 2 operator in the US, there are bigger operators, but they have a really strong brand. So I think many other operators are also following what they do and so on. So that creates ripple on the water. That also created more interest from other operators that are contacting with us.
Perfect. So one final question then, perhaps. What can you say about your progress in the US market and milestones ahead, and what that would mean to you going forward? Specifically, perhaps about other tier 1 customers.
Yeah, again, as I said before, I mean, if we can conclude on this tier 1 operator and convert that into sharp business, that of course will give a lot of attention from also other operators, both in the US and also Europe. We have many candidates that are suitable for this solution. So by creating such a reference, of course, I expect that there are more to come.
So like a domino effect, basically.
Then, of course, but then, of course, these operators are quite demanding. They have high requirements, and they don't look exactly the same. So, of course, we need to expect, in that case, also to enter into these type of processes. It takes time. A lot of customization needs to happen, even though very much is based on common standards. The problem is that different operators use different subsets of these standards, so it's not 100% similar. So that's the key to success, is of course to understand the operator's use case and convert that into solutions, mainly in our software then, in order to have a smooth integration into this operator's existing networks. So that's how it works, and that's how we can succeed, I think.
I see. So your strategy is going after the biggest elephants in the jungle. Of course, you need to put a lot of effort into each hunt, but that gives you also scalability in the long run. And of course, as you mentioned, touched upon in your presentation, your revenue going more from hardware, which is the kind of the heavy part today, to software and licenses.
Higher software and service content in our sales. That's clearly the objective, yeah.
Once again, thank you very much, Jörgen, and best of luck.
Thank you.
So once again, a short break, and join us again in just a few minutes. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. It is now time for Waystream to present. And with us, we have Fredrik Lundberg, the CEO. Welcome, Fredrik. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Fredrik Lundberg is my name, and I'm the CEO of Waystream. And I would like to present us a little bit, the market, our financial situation, and our focus going forward. So I quickly jump into the introduction of us. We're a Swedish company founded in 2001, became our own in 2012, and was listed on First North 2015. We have our main office in Kista outside Stockholm, but we have R&D in China and in India, also in Stockholm, and production centers in Sweden and in China. All in all, we are 35 plus people if you combine the number of employees and consultants, especially within R&D. We have consultants in India, as it's easier to use consultancy firms, but most of them have been employed for a long time. So what do we actually do? We help city networks and operators to build the next generations of high quality FTTX networks. Our products are adopted for the FTTH market, and that helps our customers to get better, higher capacities, lower downtime, and better quality all in all. So our products are a number of different access switches that are in different. There are a number of different product lines. There are layer 3 and layer 2. It's dependent on how the operators and city networks build their network, so to speak. But we have fiber and copper. We have 1 gigabit and 10 gigabit switches, and there are a number of different varieties of these. Plus that we combine that with optics that we add in combination with these services. So what do these switches actually do? All in all, they connect apartments and houses to the fiber networks. So if you think from a network perspective, those switch cabinets that are placed on streets or in the basements of apartments, in the apartments, that's where we place our products, or the operator places our products. So what means when we adopt it to this means that that they are built to be outside in those cabinets. It can be really warm, can be really cold, and so on. So it's very specific usage for this. So we have customers all in all over Europe, also in Canada, but our stronghold is of course our home markets, Sweden and Norway, but also Denmark and all across Europe. Somewhere around 85 active customers. And when we say active customers is that they continue to build out their ongoing fiber networks with our products. So they are all ordering from us. I mean, just to show that we have a strong footprint in Sweden, across Scandinavia, Nordics, but also Europe and globally. So we are continuing developing and taking market position in these markets. So how does our market look like? All in all, there is an extreme development over fiber networks across Europe, but also across the world. But if we only focus on Europe, the EU have decided that they have a target that 2030, every household should have 1 gigabit of fiber internet in their household. That is, of course, an enormous investment that is required to get there. And we are far away from it. And it's, of course, driven by the exponential usage of data. But if we look at it from a forecasting perspective, we can see that it's more than 100 million new households that are supposed to be connected over the next 5 years in Europe. So for us, that is, so the market is there, that's for sure. If we then look into just a few markets, we can see Germany, they have about 3 million households connected. They are planning to, within 5 years, have 25 million households connected. Sweden, where we have high amount of fiber today, it's still 40% more households going to be connected. So there is a growth in the market, in our home market, but across Europe. So for us, it's about actually taking advantage of the market situation rather than being able to compete. So there is enough market there for us. And especially in the market situation as it is right now, where the global trade problems, there are issues between the US, Europe and China and so on, that affects the vendors, the global vendors. So that is also in our favor. But if we then look a little bit about numbers, how are we doing in this marketplace? We had a strong fourth quarter. We continue to show growth. We have a strong customer base, as I said, and we, for the first time, actually saw that the demand was much higher than our production capacity. It was also a bit affected by the component shortage, but we can also see that the market and the interest for our products are continuously growing. So our sales growth was 8%, but it would have been higher if we would have received and be able to ship out more products. At the same time, we are continuously profitable. We have a 70% EBIT margin, which is very good, and we continue to invest in our products and in our future growth. But all in all, it was a record year for the year. We had 91 million in revenues and made an EBIT on 19 million SEK. And also a very, very strong cash flow. So we are now in a very good financial situation to go into next steps, to invest in our growth and invest in trying to take advantage of the market situation. So what is our plans going forward then? We, in our Q4 report, announced new long-term financial targets. Was to give some guidelines on how we see the market growth and ourselves. We see that we should have an average sales growth of 10 to 15% on an annual basis, an EBIT margin on 15 to 20%, and with a more long-term target of doubling our revenues in 3 to 5 years. So we see that we are in a good position to continue grow and do it in a profitable way. The board also announced that we are not handing out dividends this year, and it's that we believe that we can use the money in a better way. And we are also looking into to see if acquisition could be a part of speeding up our process, both either from a growth perspective, but also from a broadening our product portfolio, if we see a good match. So how are we actually going to reach these numbers? I'm going to focus a little bit on what we are doing. We are focusing on increasing our customer base. We see that the interest on the market for our product is high, both in the Nordics but also in Europe. But at the same time, our products are needed. You need to be in contact with the customers. It's technical sales, and so we need to be present. So what we are doing right now is investing in our sales and our communication. So we are increasing our sales teams. We have, during the fall, hired a number of people in Sweden, and we are also looking into opening in sales offices and hiring more people in Germany. We see that when we are driving the dialogue with end customers, we see a really good return on that investment. And we also see that we have very good conversion when customers test our products. In addition to that, added to that, we also see that we are trying to broaden our reseller and partner network. There are a number of companies that are selling to and they're building up the fiber networks across Europe. So we are looking into on how we can get in contact with more customers. And of course, we are looking over, as I mentioned, on acquisition, on how this could help us in our growth. But to support this, we also are planning to increase our production. I mentioned the component shortage, and that is in the marketplace. That is, of course, affecting our market as we sell high-end technology products. So we are planning to and have been working on increasing our capacity to be able to sell more products. We see that there are a number of our competitors that, due to the situation, don't have products to sell. So here we have an opportunity as well to sell more of the products that we have in stock and that we're building up in stock, but also over time to make sure that we have products, because we need to have products to be able to grow. At the same time, we are broadening and investing in our product portfolio. We are increasing our spending in product development, both to secure our existing product portfolio, that it develops, that we are looking over on how to lower the cost on existing products, but also broadening the portfolio with new products, both from a hardware and software perspective. So all in all, we look over on where we can do. But what we can see in the marketplace is that what has happened now is that products and our existing customers are understanding the situation and that they are planning much more ahead on their orders. So we now have a much better control of what is happening going forward, both in terms of, so we have an understanding of what production needs, but also where the opportunity is in the market. So we see it as very interesting. We also have a big focus, of course, on sustainability. We are looking into on how our products, how we can work with green development. We also have a focus on our staffing, health, especially now in the COVID and the shift over, and also looking into how we can work efficiently in the marketplace. But we are in a good financial situation. We have a good product portfolio, and we see that we have a good part of the market and the opportunities there. So that was more or less what I had to say today. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Fredrik. So let's start perhaps with some potential challenges. Production and delivery times have increased across many markets, including yours. Have you seen any issues with this? Have you had any issues with this, and how do you handle this?
Yes, we see that this is affecting us, and it's affecting the market. Our existing customers are placing their orders much earlier than before, but we also see an opportunity among new potential customers that they are looking into. Can we support them instead of their current vendors if they cannot deliver? We increased our production. We started early to increase productions. We unfortunately have not been, we see the increases for demand is increasing higher than our growth in product development. But I'm positive, even though it is a tough situation regarding components.
And is it transitory or mid-term, long-term? What do you think?
I think the situation has normalized. We see that the components that were supposed to arrive now are planned to be delivered in 6 months and so on. So it is a 6-month delay, but I see that it's normalized in the sense that we now know much better on which components are arriving the upcoming months. But I foresee that it's going to be ongoing for the next years, to be honest. I believe so. We see no signs of it going back to normal, but what is the new normal? I mean,
I see.
This might be the new normal, and then we're there.
Yeah. How will the 4 new product lines benefit your future growth?
No, the 4 copper lines that we launched in the fall are definitely going to be a good complement to our existing portfolio. We see that there is a demand in the market, especially in Sweden, where we have where a number of households, hundreds of thousands of households, have Ethernet in their copper Ethernet cables in there, and then those products are built for that. So we see a great interest, and I think it's going to support our growth.
Okay, thank you very much, and best of luck.
Thank you.
So a brief break, and soon, in a few minutes, join us again as we listen to MOVS Technology Group. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. It is now time for MOVS Technology Group to present. We have with us CEO Mikael Klingberg and Chief Product Officer Peter Klangsell. Well, a warm welcome to you guys, and please, the stage is yours.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Today we're here to tell you about something simple. MOVS, the simple subscription for bikes, e-bikes and mopeds where everything is included. We want to remove the barrier of entry for everyone to change this sustainable and quickest way to commute in the central cities and the biggest cities. In this presentation, we will tell you why MOVS is the winner within the micromobility segment. But first, a short introduction on Michael and me.
Yes, my name is Michael Klingberg, and I'm the CEO and founder together with Peter. I met Peter when I studied at KTH in Stockholm, and after my studies, I started to work in the telecom business, both for small startups as well as big companies like Vodafone within the telecom business. And after 10 years of experience from the telecom business, I decided to start my own company. And my idea was to use my experience from the telecom business in a more traditional business. And my choice fell on the scooter and bicycle industry. And my new personal objective was to facilitate the change how people are communicating in the cities.
My name is Peter Klangsell, and I'm founder together with Michael. I also worked within the telecom and IT industry for 10 years as a product manager and bid manager. And now here at MOVS, I'm the research and development manager. As I commuted on two wheels all the time, so when changing the line of work, the decision was simple. Me and Mike were to change the way people commute. But what we should talk about today is a subscription service for light vehicles, which is fairly new in our segment, but not in other segments. We're in the phase where we have successfully launched a pilot, and we're now ready to scale. We all know that micromobility is a huge market, and it's growing very fast. But we also know that it would be even bigger if the decision to change would be simple, and the way to commute would be simple to change to one of these light vehicles. To be clear, we're not talking about on-demand sharing like kick bikes or e-bikes that you see on the streets. We're talking about a personal subscription with a personal vehicle. Today, we are the market leaders in the traditional sales in the micromobility, but we see that the strongest growing segment is a subscription. Within the traditional sales, we have the köpenskoter.nu and elcykelvaruhuset.se. And to become the market leaders within these segments, it has required a lot. We have visited around 100 factories in Asia. We have today 5 assembled factories that we use. We have sold around 50,000 vehicles and designed 45 own different models. We have created market-leading brands in Sweden, for example, Drax, Vessla, Lifebike, Bautian, and we're also taking agencies from zero to market leaders like NIO. We were the first in Sweden to import actually e-bikes and also e-mopeds. And all this knowledge we have learned, we will now take into the subscription that we plan to roll out into Europe. Why? Because imagine you're sitting in your car in the queue or you're in the subway and you think, oh, maybe I should change the way I commute. But the decision is quite big because now the only way is to buy a vehicle, and it's 20 to 40,000 Swedish krona you should put in. And we see also when the customer comes to our stores that they don't know if this is the right model for me. They don't know what service, if it's included or not, insurance, what it costs, what happens if something breaks down, etc. So the questions are many, but with MOVS, a simple and for the end user quite inexpensive subscription it's an easy decision to make to change the way they commute. For example, we have an e-bike, it's 495 SEK per month, normal bikes around 200 SEK per month. And we also know if they change the way they commute to this type of vehicle, they will stay. We asked 3,000 of our current users after 6 months that they had this vehicle, and 85% answered that they will never go back to the way they commuted before. Now we will show you a movie that will show you how simple this subscription can be. As you saw in the movie, it's a simple subscription where everything is included. Simplicity and premium is what our leading words when creating this service. Premiums in terms of the vehicles, the app, the butlers, and the showrooms. Simplicity where you can place an order or change vehicle or order service in your app. And it's an all-inclusive service.
And this is the light vehicles we are developing ourselves, which we are very, very proud about. All the bicycles you can see here will be launched later this year, and the scooter will be launched next year. And our vehicles are forming a our MOVS vehicles form an extremely important part of the MOVS business. And it is the attractive vehicles together with the subscription service that will drive our sales and be our success. And here we have a long experience from visiting many, many factories, and we have developed lots of factories, lots of vehicles, both bikes and scooters. And the key to success here, based on our experience, is that we need to understand the customer. And our MOVS customers, they live in the cities, and they use our vehicles every day. And then we have the target group. We should reach 50% of the European commuters with our vehicles. We have the brand. Our vehicles should have a unique identity. And we have the feeling about the vehicles. And the feeling should be that our vehicles should be well designed and a feeling of premium and quality. And last, and very importantly, environmental and sustainability. Our vehicles should have a long lifespan with high quality products, and it should require minimal service. And when we developed this communication or this commuting service, we thought about the everyday trips in Europe. And based on research, most trips are less than 8 kilometers. And our objective was that MOVS should be the most sustainable and smoothest and quickest way of commuting. And with our objective of reaching 50% of the European commuters, we are now proud to say that MOVS is the cheapest and quickest way of commuting.
Global trends are driving the MOVS business model forward. McKinsey did a very big investigation, and they asked a lot of people, and 7 out of 10 see micromobility as their number one choice to commute in the big cities and preferable bikes. The environment is important for us, the user and the companies. For us, we build product that lasts, as Michael said. We also service them so they last longer. The end user and the business want to be profiled as environmental friendly and take active decision towards this. When the environment and the climate is number one on the politicians' agenda, that creates incentives, and it also creates restrictions. So like for cars, for instance, in the bigger cities, in the centers, they are banned. Traffic lanes become bicycle lanes, car tolls and less parking places. And also the regulations that limits on-demand market, like kick bikes you see on the streets. Example, only in Stockholm, the last year they put in parking tickets on these type of vehicles and a yearly fees. And last week they limited the numbers that you're allowed to put on the streets. So like Voi, for instance, they went from 7,000 to 1,500 kick bikes in one day last week. So, and also you can see on the right-hand side of this slide, the subscription takeover in many industries. Example, the car industry, which was the first, that now private lease in Sweden is over 50% and took 10 years. Like ZignSec started on subscription based on glasses, and now just after 3 years, it's reached over 50%. Lynk & Company, they launched 1 year ago, and they sold. They have orders on 35,000 subscriptions. The market is huge, as you can see, and this is an example on the bike industry, and it's growing quite fast. But you can see in the orange part of this this picture, that's the e-bikes, and the turnover on these are 3 times higher than a normal bike. So actually, it grows more in revenue. And if we take the same assumption as from the car industry and the glasses, so within 3 to 10 years, 50% of this market would be on subscription, and that would be equal to 15 billion euros per year.
And if we then look into the different target groups with MOVS, our focus when we launched the pilot of this service last year was consumers, but in a few months we received questions from, first of all, many last mile delivery companies that also were interested in this kind of service, and which might not be very strange because we have been very strong for a long time in this industry. For instance, if you travel through Stockholm today, you will find out that almost all drivers from Uber as well as from Foodora are using our Drex scooters in Stockholm when delivering the groceries or food to people. And after receiving all these requests from companies, this resulted in that we started several pilots. So now we have pilots with several MOVS delivery services to several companies, and it also resulted in that we started 2 development projects. So right now we are developing 2 vehicles specially made for delivery services.
Now the target for MOVS is Europe, and we want to reach 200,000 subscription in 2027. And we're choosing the cities after the size of the city, the possibility to conduct credit checks on the end users, the habit to use subscriptions in the city, the infrastructure in terms of bicycle lanes. To summarize, so this slide is just to sum up that we have everything in place and are ready to expand. We have the IT, the logistics, and the best factories in place. We have sold 50,000 vehicles, created 45 vehicles. We have created market-leading brands. We have conducted over 100,000 services on these vehicles, so we know what it takes and how to build them to last long. And many different companies have raised a lot of money in this segment the last few years, but only a few have the experience and know how we have.
And we now have a very strong team, except me and Peter. Everyone got experience from large corporates as well as from startups. We have Jonas Rundqvist, that is our design and brand guru, who is helping us to developing the service and the feeling and the brand and the design of the vehicles. And he has been part of developing several consumer brands like Vimla. We have also another Jonas Petersson, that helped us that is helping us with the IT. And he has been working for small and big corporates to develop their digital strategies as well their IT platforms. And we also have Tobias with long experience from being operation manager at several companies. He was part of one thing was he was part of developing Get Taxi, that is a competitor in London to Uber. And an important decision that we took after launching our service was to establish a new strong board to create the basis of the expansion of MOVS. And we first have our chairman of the board, Göran Strandberg, who has experience from the car industry that has been under a big change during the last years. First with Holmgrens, which is a big dealer in Sweden, and now he's working with the Lincoln Company. And we also have Daniel Susanne, who has long experience from being an entrepreneur, and he has also been part of many well-known companies with high growth. And we also have Fredrik, who has long experience from the gaming industry, both as CFO and CEO. And finally, I want you to take a few things from today's meeting, and that is that the market of micromobility is very strong, and it's expected to grow a lot. And with MOVS, we are making it possible for people to communicate in a more sustainable and healthy way. And we are, as Peter said, already the market leader in this business, and we have the experience to make this happen. And MOVS will revolutionize the way people are commuting. As well, we will enable environmentally healthy cities. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I believe your unique selling points are quite clear. You just repeated them on the last slide here. I have a question about the bigger cities like Paris, Copenhagen, Stockholm, like you said, adding new rules and regulation on e-scooters and the likes of Voi and Lime. How will this affect you, do you believe?
It will actually not affect us at all, because our vehicles will not be placed on the streets like these on-demand services. And this means that with MOVS, it's more about personal ownership by our subscription. And our customers, they will own their own vehicles via the subscription, and they will use them every day. And research is actually showing that this kind of service is much more optimal for increasing the usage of micromobility while preserving the cleaner cities. If you compare it for instance, the on-demand services that you referred to.
Okay, great. So there are studies. I really like that. And then speaking of studies, you did your own pilot study. What numbers, KPIs, or data in that is giving you the most confidence that this is really something that there's a market for?
You could say that the background to our pilot was to understand more about the customers. And we can see when we asked all our customers, both the customers that we have in stock, as well as the customer that cancelled by different reasons the service, that all are really happy about the service, as well as the ones that cancelled the services. And 43% of the customers that left our service are telling us that they will come back to us after the winter. So I think we got confirmation of most of the assumptions that we had. Another one was that the best way of converting new customers is using the social media.
Oh, I see. Okay. So assuming that it sounds like you're going to have quite a low churn, and that means that even though you'll have to spend money, obviously, to get new users to market your service, the low churn will probably make it very profitable going forward. Okay, great. So just a final question. If you would highlight one or two specific things that the investors can look forward to from hearing from your company in the next 12 months or so, what would you pick?
I think it's first of all the custom-made bicycles developed by ourselves, as we will launch both electric and non-electric, as well as the expansion of our service outside Sweden during this year.
Okay, we're looking very much forward to that. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now a short break before we are joined by JonDeTech. Please join us in a few minutes. Thank you. Hello and welcome back, everyone. It is now time for JonDeTech to present, and I have with me CEO Dejan Tosic and CPO, Chief Product Officer Karin Turberg. A warm welcome, and please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. And my name is Dejan Tosic. I'm the CEO of JonDeTech since November 2021, and with me I have
Karin Turberg. I'm the CPO of JonDeTech since beginning of December.
So let us start a little bit with telling you what JonDeTech is all about. A little bit of a recap. JonDeTech is a sensor technology company. We've been operating for a number of years, focusing strongly on developing a sensor platform based on nanotechnology. This nanotechnology has been researched on for some 20 years by members of our team. And we have an extremely high number of technical doctors in our team, so the technical level is extremely high. We see that that is our core business, and will continue to be so. But we also see that we have different other assets in our company that we want to capitalize on. We've been working with our potential customers over the years to actually find the algorithm to translate the data into information from the sensors that we're building, prototyping. That knowledge we want to capture now and package it and adding value through delivering it to our customers. We also see that we have large business potential in the global trends of IoT, driven by 5G development and connectivity of different sorts. This is what we're trying to capture as the wave together with our knowledge. And we see that we want to step out in that market soon in order to start generating revenue. This is why we have launched a new offering, which we'll come back to a bit later. But as I said, the core business that we do is commercializing our nanotechnology platform. And where do we stand on that? That is the big question, of course, for you who have been following JonDeTech for a while. So let us look at what's happening currently and where we stand. In Q4 last year and during the summer last year, we did a preparation for going full fabless, which means that we are transferring the production line fully to our production partner, Varioprint, in Switzerland. This preparation meant that we invested in electroplating equipment, which we now have installed in Switzerland. And meanwhile, we have been exploring and evaluating the critical process steps in the production line in order to make sure that we have the right quality moving forward. We have also implemented necessary quality reviews in each step of the process in order to be sure that the quality that we produce our product in is enough and good enough for the market. So what's happening now? In Q1 this year, we start moving into the full fabless production. The line is ready. We have started the production again, which means that before summer, we'll have the first results of that production, and we'll be able to actually get the first sensors out from the new production line that we have set up in Varioprint's organization. We will then continuously get new sensors out every second week, and we will make sure that we trim that production process so that for every batch that we get a higher level of quality. And that we'll continue with until we reach the most important milestone that we have ahead, getting a working sample. Because that is the first milestone in actually commercializing our product.
Yes, and what we see right now is a very strong trend to collect and process information about our surroundings. This is driven by the global trends, sustainability being one of them. We have limited resources and we need to use them wisely. We are electrifying our vehicles, but we also need to make them energy efficient. to give you one example. The key tool here is the 5G deployments. It's designed for massive IoT, and we right now see the networks being deployed at scale, both nationwide, but also local networks, covering, for example, a factory or an office building. So my point here is that we have the drivers and the tools in place for deploying sensors everywhere. To capture this ongoing trend and to address the market needs, we are now expanding our hardware portfolio with silicon elements. This is a very natural step for us. It enables us to capitalize on the in-house software and the know-how that we have built up over time. For example, how to interpret the sensor data, how to turn it into business critical information. So we hope that this will generate revenues faster in time compared to if we didn't have made this roadmap update. It also gives us options when we are in customer dialogues. And when our nano element will be in the market, we have already established the required processes for supply chain and forecasting, as an example. What I'm doing right now is that I'm also looking into how to evolve the portfolio over time. Again, looking into the global trends and leveraging the unique features of the nano element to capture new markets beyond IR sensing and presence detection. Our portfolio is made up by the nano element and the IPR and above all the know-how that we have built up. And we have seen that different customers have varying needs, and because of that we have created a very modular portfolio with components that can be combined in a very flexible way. We have, for example, firmware that facilitates integration with other components, and we have algorithms that enables us to transfer sensor data into business critical information. What we are doing right now is that we see that some customers, I will go back. These components, they are actually higher up in the value chain compared to the nano element. And the place in the value chain is important when it comes to creating business, because instead of selling sensor elements and charge per piece, we can actually have a business model that is more related to the business value that we are creating with our customers. We have also seen that some customers, they are more in the need of more integrated solutions, system in package, that in addition to the hardware elements include other functions such as a microprocessor or low energy connectivity, Bluetooth or other radio standards. So we can, together with our our integration partners, meet these type of demands. And when we are looking into these type of integrated solutions, we can also leverage the uniqueness of the nano element. We can, for example, integrate components by electroplating or using nanoprinting technologies directly into the plastic surface. So this is something that we are looking into.
And to conclude the presentation of JonDeTech, we have a way forward that we're looking at the moment. I mean, we are quite new into the company. We have been revising this current strategy up until now, and we are putting on another layer on top of that strategy in order to make sure that we can reach revenues faster without compromising the main strategy that we have of developing our own sensor and taking that to a commercial market. What we need in order to do that is, of course, building an ecosystem of partners, not only on the production side, but also in the supply chain and in the customer dimension. We are a relatively small company. We need that injection of both competence and experience, and we see that extremely well when working with Varioprint in the production side. We're getting a lot of expertise in when industrializing our processes and our product. We also see that, for example, working with institutes, gaining the latest updates on the research within nanotechnology is important. This is one of the reasons why we're actually located in the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. So we have a closeness to the nanotechnology lab and other facilities nearby. But building a company which is sustainable, which is also generating a profit and a value to the owners, takes, of course, building structure capital. And this is also what we're looking at of doing moving forward. We need to ensure that we have the right people, the right processes in our company, and that we focus on the right things. And the right things to focus on at the moment is, of course, to reach the first product. And of course, in the sales domain, to capitalize on the new offering that we're taking to the market. So that's the two main things we're focusing on. We are a company working with advanced technology. Things are not easy when you work with new technology and advanced technology. We know that. But we also see that being positioned in Stockholm, which is the innovation hub of the Nordics and maybe Europe, we have access to both people and capital to make this happen. I think we are in a transformation where we are moving from being a very tech-oriented company into being a commercially driven company which seeks profitability. And that is a transformation I really enjoy being part of, and I hope that you will enjoy that as well if you choose to join us on that journey. So with that, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for a very professional presentation. What have you communicated to the market in terms of milestones or goals for 2022?
As you know, we have communicated a number of milestones and goals, and we have difficulties reaching them. And that's also why you see in this presentation that the first milestone is actually reaching the first production that comes out, which is on a reasonable level, so we can say that it's a working sample, which is the first milestone for going commercial with the product. There are other milestones, of course, along the road, but this is the most crucial one, showing that the technology can be produced in large volumes moving forward. So that is the milestone for the nanotechnology. For the new offering that we have on the table now, which we recently started to look into, I believe that getting the first revenue before end of the year is a crucial milestone for us.
Very interesting, thank you. And could you elaborate on your fabless strategy and the partnership with Varioprint? What does this mean to you?
The partnership with Varioprint is, of course, as I said before, one of the key drivers for industrializing the production. And what we get from working with Varioprint is their ecosystem of partners in different areas, in different parts of the process. We get a lot of knowledge and competence from them. They have long experience in producing similar products, although there are a lot of technicalities in the nanotechnology which is new to them as well. This is why we have a joint development project rather than a pure supplier agreement in place with them. So,
I see, I understand. And if you were asked to mention 1, 2, or 3 like pie in the sky biggest opportunities for you in, say, the next 2 to 3 years, which ones would you pick?
I would say that the combination that we have now with the sensor that we're developing on our own, and also the sensor that we are adding to our portfolio, together with the knowledge as a bundled package, means that we can actually meet customers with different types of requirements. And we see that when we do our discussions already today with various types of customers, not only the component providers like Ofilm and so on, but also with product developers, that there's a large interest and a large opportunity. What we need to do is go out there and grab that opportunity with the product portfolio we have at hand. And short term, we have a new opportunity, of course, and on a bit longer term, we have the nano sensor coming out.
Okay, sounds very interesting indeed. So best of luck on your journey, and looking forward to following you as you step by step go to the commercial stage and starting to generate revenue.
Thank you.
Best of luck, and thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this presentation concludes our Tech Day Summit today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I hope you realized that many of the companies presenting here today are truly unique in their niche and have world-leading positions. So this current volatility, just to round up and tie to the initial address I did this morning, this afternoon, the sum of the parts is there are plenty of opportunities. Don't be scared away by the current volatility. For any long-term investor, as we all should be, expect 3 to 5 years' time, there are plenty of opportunities, even more today than there were just a few months ago. So thank you very much for watching once again, and good luck with your business. Bye-bye.